So to give yourself familiar with kind of the basics of our basic HMI, the active alarms table will have all of the alarms that are currently active. So if there's more than 5, the operators can still view all of those alarms. There's history. We typically have 2 different histories. We have the system log, or the system history, and the alarm history. The system log is in a table in the database called syslog, and the system log houses all of the information about any of the services, service communication, if there's a heartbeat failure, if any of the services are down, or any of the, you can track a box basically through our system, looking through the system log. And that's, for the customer, usually the most crucial part of the system log, is they can enter in a barcode or LPN number and track, when it was given, when the information was given to us from the WM, when it passed the first scan, or when it passed the second scan, or when it got sorted down the line, when there was a divert confirm, so it can track the entire history of that package and find out, if something went wrong, where did it go wrong? Why did it go wrong? The reason codes, all that information's there. Another key thing that's put into the system log is the HMI. Everything that's crucial to the system is audited and written to that system log, so that the operators themselves are held accountable. Now, of course, the customer drives that. Not every customer gives individual usernames to the operators, but if they do, then those operators are held accountable. There are quite a few customers that go back and look at the log to find out, who the hell shut down the conveyor system, who changed order information to completely screw up the system. All of that information's there. So then the next thing is the alarm history. So, obviously we keep a history of all of the alarms. In the alarm history, we have an on and off timestamp. So that way the maintenance guys can have a record of how long those alarms are occurring for, or when they're occurring, or how frequently they're occurring, to help them troubleshoot issues. And obviously managers could probably use that information too to determine, if a certain area is always full, maybe they need to staff someone there. Or maybe someone is staffed there but isn't doing their job. They're not loading into the truck fast enough. So the alarm history is obviously helpful information.
And I'm guessing that's all alarm history.
Yeah.
Instead of just a short.
Correct. And typically, for the system log and the alarm history and any database table that's being continually added to, we have a timestamp, obviously, and that information is usually housed for 30 days. And then we have a cleanup script that just deletes that information.
First one after that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because a majority of the time the customer don't need to look back that far. And if you're keeping that information, these tables have to sort through that information, so it's longer queries and it slows down the system. So it's good to clean it up. But that's adjustable based off the customer needs. Some customers will only keep like 10 days of information because it's so much information coming in. Some of them it's 45 days. But kind of going around here, the next thing is reports. We offer some default reports. We can also do some custom reporting. So for default reports, there's scanner statistics, which scanner statistics report basically we can just jump to the scanner stats table. So let me talk about that real fast first. So the scanner stats table, anytime that we have a barcode in the system, a barcode reader, which is a majority of our systems, we keep track of the statistics. So we have every scanner is listed here. We have the last scan. That's the last scan time, then the barcode, the reads, no reads, and then total, and then we have resettable statistics and lifetime statistics. The resettable statistics are so that they can, adjust the camera or, replace the camera or do anything that they need to, and then reset the statistics to make sure that they're getting the read rate that they need to. So a poor read rate can be an indication that something's wrong with that camera or something's wrong with the label placement. If you hit H in the bottom corner here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, scanner statistics. Sorry, I did it kind of fast.
I was still in the other log, like, why is it asking me this?
Yeah, he was looking at something else.
I was looking where he originally was.
Gotcha. Sorry.
Okay.
I'll try to slow down when I jump places. So going back home, back to the reports and scanner stats report.
That's where I was.
So the scanner stats report is basically just a screenshot, if you will, of that. We have CSV or PDF. All of our reports we offer in CSV or PDF. So CSV, obviously you can open in Excel and they can manipulate that report to do whatever other reports or information they want to. Or a PDF can be added to an email and sent out. So we figure it's two good ways of presenting the information that they can pretty much have unlimited use for. So that scanner statistics is the current snapshot of what the scanner statistics looks like. Then going back and to the fault history report. The fault history report, we have a couple different options. Obviously CSV and PDF, but we have a summary report and a detailed report. The detailed report, again, is kind of a snapshot of the information. It's the raw data, all of the alarms that are occurring within a given date and time period. So we have our start and our end time period, which they can just select in the table and run the report and get that raw data for. Then the summary report summarizes it by count of number of times that each alarm occurred, ordered by, in that time period, ordered by the most frequent alarm. So they can, for instance, select a shift and say, during the shift, what alarm's happening the most frequent? What's the key items that the maintenance guys or the operators need to focus on improving? So yeah, that's a key report. So real fast to show you, I'm not going to go through the script, but in the file structure here, we have a utilities, and there is a database generation, or sorry, not database, HMI reporting tool. And that HMI reporting tool will assist in automatic generation of reports. So if there's custom reports, you can use that tool, and there's actually a document, a help document on that training folder. And when you get to that point, I can help you kind of walk through it. But It will actually help you generate the HMI code or the actual tile and all the information under there, as well as the report itself. For our stock reports, for instance, if you accidentally delete the scanner stats report or the fault history report, we actually do have a third stock report called audit history report, which is basically the same thing as that fault history, but for the syslog. Those reports, it will generate everything automatically. There's only a couple configurations that need to be set, and then you run that generation tool and boom, you have everything. Custom report, there's a little bit more fine tuning, but it will get you at least a majority of the way there towards that generation. So then the last thing here is the or not the last thing, but one of the last things is the communications tab. So this is for the IT people, the IT personnel. They can see the live status of the PLC. So this is helpful to see if there's any major fault. They don't have to open up the panel. They can see it right directly on the HMI. They can see if any of the ADA panels, or if this is a more traditional system, we have our control panels. We can replace that with a control panel and see the Ethernet status. So really the communications is for easily troubleshooting communication issues. And then we have a table of all of the devices that have Ethernet communication, and they can click on any of the devices and ping. So they don't have to remember IP addresses or anything. They can just click here, ping.
That's all I see.
Exactly. You don't have to open up another control or command prompt or anything, yeah. And then finally, we give a link to the network architecture drawing. So that way they can see, the IT people can see the actual Ethernet paths of everything. So, 5 years from now, if they didn't work on the project or whatever, they can see where all the Ethernet cables are going to. Then the last section that we're going to briefly go over is the setup. So again, home, settings. So there's user setup and system settings. System settings, I have some information in here, but really it's project specific. I just dumped some information in here to give a kind of general idea of what might go in there. In one project, we had weigh scale settings, setting up the tolerance and enabling and disabling the weigh scale. So that's something that could be in system settings. System settings is kind of a dumping ground for, high level settings that usually admin level will want to be able to adjust, but not necessarily operators. And then going back, we have user settings. So the HMI obviously has a login, and there are 3 levels of access, technically 4 levels of access. So from a customer standpoint, there is admin level has highest access. They have access to everything. They can see every screen, do every button action, do everything. Then step down from that is maintenance manager level. Now all of this is obviously customer dependent. They tell us what screens they want or what access. But typically a maintenance manager will have access to, for instance, the communication screen, the reports, the scanner statistics, but they won't have access to the user setup or any of the settings. And then you have operator level, which has the least level access, which is just specifically what they need to do their job. So usually viewing the graphics, viewing some of the WCS screens, viewing the alarms, viewing the history, that kind of thing. And then above that, we have the designer level, the GOG level access, which you have the ability to actually edit. Exactly, or screw it up. So eventually I'd like to refine that more, because we're starting to get more and more customers that want that access, want to be able to edit specific things. So eventually we're going to have some more refinements within the editing capability to give, for instance, maybe the admin guy has access to add a button or add a table. Exactly. So maybe there's some hybrid user levels, but right now there's those 4 user levels. So from a back end perspective, the access levels are: 1 is operator, 5 is maintenance manager, 10 is admin, and then 20 is the godlight access, the designer access. So starting off, the HMI, when you get this base HMI, it's level 20 access. So you can do anything with it. So the meat and the potatoes of the HMI is the graphics. This is the area that initially you guys are all going to be really focusing your time on, doing or laying out the graphics. So if we click in graphics right now, it's empty because it's base HMI.
Yeah.
Of course it's empty.